Good morning, Zio here, and it is Sunday, which means we now do the gaming roundup for the week, where we go through all the things, lightly touch on them once again, of the things we went ahead and we talked about earlier this week, plus, one or two other things that I may have run across that I just couldn't get around to talking about or couldn't really do a decent size video on. I don't know. Still working on this intro, of course. So let's just get into it, shall we? And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do it right now. We do have a BitChute now, too. I did open up a BitChute thingy, and I decided to throw videos over there to archive it. So if you're over on BitChute, guess what? Come find me on YouTube and Twitter, and that's going to be the places to actually get a hold of me if you ever needed to for some odd, weird reason. But anyway, things hit the YouTubes first, then they hit BitChute for, I guess, archiving purposes. And yeah, I guess that's where we'll leave it at that. So subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, share it out to whoever it is that you want to share to and laugh with about how horrible this production is. So let's get started. Monday morning, we did talk about Modern Warfare and the $20 for the death to kill ratio counter for a player to actually see how many times they have died in a match, because apparently the only way to do it is to buy a $20 bundle on the store, which gives you a nice little watch to, yeah, I'm showing the watch I don't actually have, so, it all works out, I guess, but, yeah. It allows you to then see how many times you have died, which will, of course, help you better your gameplay, among other things, and, of course, help teams coordinate where weaknesses and other things are. Of course, the links to everything are down in the description below if you want to see the full, video on it, talking about it, where we go more in depth. Go ahead and do that then, because that's also nice. And, of course, you can always leave a like over there, comment on that one. That would be fantastic. Tuesday, of course, we talked about Rocket League, players that were unhappy with loot boxes being taken from their game, and you're probably thinking, if you hadn't heard about it yet for some reason because you lived under a rock, they don't like the fact that loot boxes were removed from the game. Yeah, they don't. There's a reason behind that, of course, so, go ahead and take a look, but there's a whole economy going on down there, and they just wrecked it by removing the loot boxes, removing keys, and putting these credit things with ridiculous prices. And yeah, that seems like that's a total lot of fun there. I don't know who came up with that scheme, but yeah, it was definitely one of those, 2 steps forward or 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of mentality thing, because yeah, we'll go with that. Then somewhere along the way, because I can't remember which day I actually did this one, I think it was Thursday, because Wednesday work has decided to kill me, and I did not get a chance to actually do anything. So Thursday, we did talk about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, and the critics who were scoring it quite mixed, and just sort of diving into that a little bit compared to the other movies in the franchise that had came out, because it was just a weird thing to see. The critics loved the last one. They put this one out like it was the best thing since the invention of the frog in the hole. And, this one, it was a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes. Of course, if you really want to go look at a score, go look at the consumer scores, wherever they are, Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes, things like that. The customer reviews, the actual people invested in the thing and stuff. So you want to go ahead and you want to take a look at those instead. But yeah, just the fact that the critic scores were super mixed, it was something to look into. And of course, we're going to follow this up sometime later next week when we come back and look, now that the bulk of the audiences have probably seen this movie. And we're going to take a look at the box office, see how that went as well. I've been looking at various things about this movie for the past several days now, and I've actually gone from dreading the fact of this movie to I think I might give this a shot to, you know what, I really do want to see this because it is the last of the Skywalker saga. Yeah, I know that's a Disney. The Skywalker saga is like this Disney ploy to make it its own little category or whatever, its own thing. But it really is. I mean, it's following, Anakin, Luke, Rey, who's not a Skywalker. But anyway, it just sort of brings in the end of, those series. And it is something that I do want to see eventually. I'm going to have to wait until, it's on a digital somewhere because I'm not going to be able to get around to actually going to a theater to watch it, of course, sadly. And it seems to be mixed. Still, even now, as I'm recording this, a lot of things are mixed. You've got a lot of people who hate it. You got a lot of people who love it. And, when I actually do get around to seeing it, I might just give my initial thoughts on it. Something I want to do, or wanted to do with Last Jedi, of course, which I never did actually do, because that movie was that one really soured it for me. But this one, I do want to give it a fair shake, and I think it might actually do. I've been looking into a lot of things in the Star Wars franchise, and you've got people. It just really depends on how you look at this movie and how you judge it. If you judge it just based on the available information of, say, the last 8 movies, then there's probably a lot of things that are going to irk you in this movie. Meanwhile, if you expand that to other sources, because I know Disney decided to make all the EU, everything else, video games, comic books, all that stuff, no longer canon. It's not in this. It's not in there and everything. But to be honest, when you do add that stuff in, a lot of things do actually seem to be making more sense when it comes to this movie. Just to give an example, I guess, real quick, while we are on the subject, force healing. I've heard a lot of people make several arguments on how this is a stupid thing, shouldn't be a thing. It's not a thing. It's never been a thing. It's new force powers. And, when it comes to, say, jumping real quick to force Skyping, yeah, that's atrocious. I don't understand why that's a thing. Anyway, shouldn't be a thing. Never has been a thing. It's just weird. But I can get into more detail of why that is at a later date. Just not right here. But as for force healing, that's a thing. That's an actual thing. Even, if you just need a quick, really easy example, go play Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, right? There are healers in that game. There are healers who don't use the Force. There are healers who do use the Force. Those who don't usually use droids and mechanics, like hypo spray type stuff to heal their party members and to debuff them or to get off debuffs and things like that, to cleanse them and stuff. They use different mechanoids, droids, and other things to do all that stuff, right? And while the Force users, on the other hand, they use the Force for healing. The Sorcerer has Dark Heal, which is essentially like the Sith version of a heal to heal its allies. So, that kind of stuff does exist in the mythos. It's just, it wasn't canon beforehand. It's never been seen in the movies. And because it was never used previously in the movies, it's a new power now and all this other stuff. But when you really sit there and start thinking about things from outside, a lot of things in this movie seems to be making way more sense when you add the extra stuff in it, because even though Disney said it wasn't, doesn't mean that somebody like JJ did not take inspiration or borrow from outside, the areas that are supposedly non-canon now, and throw it in there. But other than that, there are other criticisms of the movie. I'm not giving it a huge thumb up or anything like that because I hadn't actually sat down and watched this movie yet. Time will tell. But we will come back to it and take a look at the scores here in a bit. Next day, of course, we did talk about Fallout 76 and the massive hacking problem that they seem to be having. They had a free weekend. It got worse. There's dupes everywhere. Duplication of items, anyway. There are now NPCs being brought up. There are assets being added to the game. Legendary effects being added to weapons and armor. It is a giant dumpster fire of a thing. So there's that. Yesterday, we talked about Borderlands 3 and Stadia because apparently Stadia is our favorite horse to beat into the ground over and over again, outside of Fallout 76, of course, because, once again, Stadia not delivering on what it says it's supposed to be capable of doing and is yet to actually do it. Stadia, you're going to die if you don't change something soon. But yeah. Beyond that, our final piece of thing today is, do you know the Sonic movie and the studio who went ahead and was like, hey, we got you. We are going to make Sonic right. We're going to fix it. Sad to say, they are apparently closing their doors. I don't know. But one of Vancouver's biggest players in the film animation is shuttering its doors weeks before Christmas, and that is just... That is a tragedy right there, especially since they're the ones who are like, look, we've got this. We messed up. We're going to fix Sonic for you. And no, they're going to now... I mean, Sonic's still probably going to be fixed. I think that movie's pretty much done, but, they're shutting their doors. But yeah, they've worked on Watchmen, Life is Pi, or of Pi, and other things. The Lion King, Call of Walla, I don't know what that is. Sonic the Hedgehog, and they are just shutting their doors. There was a letter, of course, went out, closure email. Dear all, it is with regret re-announced today that our Vancouver studio will cease operations effective immediately and refocus its... I can't read. Geographic presence to other locations. The decision has not been taken lightly. However, increasing external market pressures in Vancouver are more attractive opportunities in other locations have created a challenging environment for us to sustain the studio. MPC Film and Technologies VFX brands, including Mill Films MRX, Micros, will continue to grow and expand, and Montreal, Paris, some other place that I can't read, LA, and Toronto. Additionally, 2020 will also see us launch MPC and Mill Films' new episodic divisions. The Vancouver facility opens in 2007 with a core team of artists working on Zack Snyder's Watchmen. By 2013, the studio grew to more than 800 artists, winning several accolades, including an Academy Award for its work on Life of Pi. We are extremely proud of the hard work and dedication of our team over the past 12 years to make Vancouver a large part of the MPC network. To our friends and colleagues who are personally impacted, I wish you all success in the future, and I hope a number of you consider other opportunities to join MPC Film or sister brands at locations who we will continue to conduct business. Yeah, about 80 employees will be immediately affected by the closures, according to personnel familiar with the situation who have not authorized to comment, citing competition pressures. The company told affected employees they will get the opportunity to join MPC and other parts of the company and other locations. So it's not all bad. It does look like that a lot of these people will get the chance to, I guess, relocate and join the company in another location like LA or Vancouver or someplace like that, or I'm sorry, not Vancouver, Montreal. But unfortunately, the Vancouver location is closing, and that's sad because those who can't relocate and stuff will be out of a job. They'll have to find something else completely different. Anyway, I guess ending the news cycle with a sad story is probably not the best way to go out, but that's how we're going to do it. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.